we want to look at a couple more different types of examples here. In this example, we're talking about how you can mix different concentrations of acid. Now here we have how many liters each of 15% acid and 33% acid should be mixed to get 120 liters of 21% acid. Now in this problem, they're already giving us a table which we can use to help us out with this problem. Now the one thing you have to keep in mind when you are working with percents is you always have to convert those percents into decimals. So if you have 15%, you need to convert that into 0.15. Your 33% will become 0.33, and of course 21% will become 0.21. So we'll go ahead and put that right here in our table just to make it easier for us. So you have your 0.33 and your 0.21. Okay. Also, you can go ahead and set it up as the 15% acid. We're calling it the X variable. Okay, we'll assign the X for that. For your 33% acid, we are going to go ahead and assign the Y variable for that. So X represents how many liters of 15% acid we need and how many liters of the 33% acid we need, so that when we combine these two together, they add up to give us 120 liters, because that's what we want our total volume to be. Now, the way this will work is to find how many liters of pure acid we have. You will go ahead and multiply the amount of acid with its concentration. So this will give us 0.15 times X, or 0.15X, okay? For your 33% acid, you will go ahead and multiply the 0.33 with Y. And of course, for your 21% acid, we already know how much we need of that, and that is 120. So you multiply the 120 with the 0.21, okay? And you can go ahead and finish your table in that form. Now, with this given information, how do we come up with our system of equations? They've already assigned the variables for us, so we don't have to do that. All you have to do here now, after finishing this table, is to come up with your system of equations. Now, the first one will be fairly easy. The first equation, we know that when we add the two different quantities of our acids together, they should give us a total of 120 liters. So for your first equation, we can say X plus Y, which is the liters for 15 and 33% acid, will add up to give us 120 liters. Okay, so your first equation is fairly easy. For your second equation, what you have to do is look at this last column here, where we multiplied the concentration with how much volume of that acid we have, or we need rather. So in this case, to come up with your second equation, just like we added X plus Y to give us 120, you will go ahead and add the 0.15X with 0.33Y, and that will give you the 21% of your 120 liters acid. So this will be 0.15X plus 0.33Y equals 0.21 times 120. Okay, now you can go ahead and multiply the 0.21 into 120, and that should give you, let's see, will give you 25.2. Okay, so you don't have to leave it as this multiplication. Go ahead and find out what that product will be. Now, here's what you can do. If you want to leave these as decimals, you can go ahead and do that. Or if you like working with whole numbers and you don't want to work with decimals, you can go ahead and get rid of these decimals. And to do that, as you can see, you have 2 decimal places after each decimal point. Go ahead and multiply the whole equation by 100. Okay, since you have to move that decimal point by 2 units, you want to multiply by 100. If you had only one decimal, you would multiply it by 10. And that just, as I said, gets rid of your decimal points. So when you multiply 0.15 into 100, you end up with 15x. 0.33 into 100 will give you 33y. And 25.2 will give you 2520. Okay? So you can see we've got rid of all our decimals, and now we can go ahead and start solving these equations in our system. So you have 15x plus 33y equals 2520, and the other equation is, of course, x plus y equals 120. I think substitution would work as your method for solving these equations. So I would go ahead and say solve your second equation either in terms of x or in terms of y. So we'll go ahead and solve this in terms of x. So all we need to do is move our y over to the other side, and that will give you x equals 120 minus y. Okay? Now all we will do is take this and substitute it into our first equation, which is 15x plus 33y equals 2520. So let's see. 15, substitute your x with 120 minus y, and you have 33y equals 2520. And again, you will see now this equation is completely in terms of y. You have no x's. And this will give you, let's see, if I'm not mistaken, this should give you 1800. Okay, because of course you distribute your 15 into the parentheses, so 15 times 120 is 1800, and then 15 times y is 15y plus 33y equals 2520. Let's go ahead and combine our y's together, and that will give us minus 15y plus 33y will give us, let's see, 18y, positive 18y, and of course you have your 2520 on the other side. Now let's go ahead and move our 1800 to the other side, because again we are trying to get y by itself. Okay, so 18y equals, let's see, 17, that should be, I'm sorry, 720. Ooh, okay, 18y equals 720. Now go ahead and divide both sides by 18, and you will find out how much of the 33% acid we need to make our 120 liters. Now when you divide 720 by 18, that should give you a positive 40. Okay, and again remember this is in terms of liters, and y represents your 33% acid, so we will use 40 liters of that. Now to find your 15% acid, it's really simple, and the easiest equation to use would be the first one, x plus y equals 120, because we know both acids should add up to give us 120. So if one is 40, what is the other? You have x plus y equals 120. We know y is 40. So if you subtract 40 from 120, you will end up with 80 liters of the X acid, which is the 15% solution. Okay, and again remember, it's always a good idea to check your answers. So we will say that we need 80 liters of 15% acid and what was it, 40 liters of the 33% acid. Okay, and that will be your solution to this given problem here. So you can see for every different equation or for every different problem, you have to go through the whole process of trying to see what variables you have and how to set up your system of equations. Setting up the system of equations is the most important thing that you have to consider here.